Welcome to the Implement AI podcast, the podcast where we explore the impact of AI on your business. I'm Piers Linney, and alongside my co-host and co-founder of Implement AI, Dr. Alok Shukla, we cover the real-world applications and impact of how AI can be practically applied to drive growth and efficiency in your organization. We cut through the jargon to focus on actionable strategies and use cases to highlight the transformational power of AI. Let's dive into today's conversation.
Yeah, so just a week before you were in New York, I was in New York as well, and I was there for a Leading Agentic conference. One of the things I love, like when we're traveling around, is meeting different either business owners or industry leaders who are implementing different areas of AI, or they're looking to start their business or scale their new department, AI first, essentially. And I never get surprised by the endless use cases and wide varieties that we see. Like, for example, we had our event, and in the workshop portion, there was a good number of people that were filling out very detailed applications of how they would transform their business. And that was really fantastic.
Typical technology, okay? You have a refresh every 3 years. You've got to rip it all out and put something new in. It's disruptive, it's risky, and it costs a lot of money, okay? It takes time as well, soaks up a lot of resource. The idea here is as you deploy these agents and you become more of an AI-first business, as that underlying technology upgrades, which is going to, that's what you are reading about in the news, it filters through to the deployable production technology. All ships rise. So your business, your agent, it's like having human workers, isn't it? Exactly. They get upgraded.
So there's those two dimensions, right? There's the what we call technological frontier, where you just literally see every single day, every single week, new developments are coming. But if you actually think about like the operational frontier, like when I was walking around New York, and I was looking at the different shops, and I was seeing, for example, like what stores are hiring what they're going through different things. That seems still very much business as usual. So, like we're not seeing as widespread integrations those places yet, but that's going to come basically.
But today we thought the two things we're going to focus on. So one is the kind of the state of the art in agentic AI. So where are we? And we talked about the PR frontier, the tech frontier, the operational frontier, the production frontier. Another thing I think which we hear a lot about is this conversation about what are CEOs and CFOs actually buying, right? Is it what we talk about quite a lot? I'm not sure the AI companies do, because I don't think they want to sometimes talk about replacement. Are they buying augmentation, or are they buying human replacement? Or is it somewhere in the middle, or is it a combination of the two?
Almost like 2 years ago when we just started to implement AI, I was talking a lot about this book of Exponential Organizations, which kind of came out in 2014, 2015, essentially, right? And the whole point there was like, why certain types of firm are 10x more productive and grow faster than other businesses. And those firms were like the Ubers, or like the other kind of like mobile platform companies empowered by AI, and like Google and Waze and examples like that. But at that point, that kind of technology and that kind of power was only accessible to people with huge budgets, basically, right? And so that book almost like explained the kind of like the trajectory and like how you can have like teams with it massively producing that other people can't do. What's happened now is that level of power has almost become available to anybody. It's a bit like drones, right? Military drones used to be very expensive and very, complex. And now, for example, military drones can be made quite cheaply and by many people. So the point is like the power has become democratized and it's become more widely available.
ChatGPT's got 1 billion sort of users now. Users use it once a week. And people say, well, everyone's going to have AI. And you hear this phrase, don't you, that AI won't kill you, or it won't kill your job or your business. Somebody using AI will. And everyone's saying, yeah, but that doesn't really hold water anymore, because everyone's going to have AI. And it's just not the case, is it? Yeah, I talked to good friends of mine last week who are very capable, they're in business. And I just to say to them, I use AI, I use ChatGPT typically, mostly, to augment myself in almost any cognitive task. And they look at me blankly and say, well, I haven't actually got an account. Which account should I get? And I just think it's insane the amount of people that are not using it. Personally, if you're a leader, but also in a business. So I think these numbers. So we're talking to quite a few retailers. So retailers, founders of retailers, some of them reasonably big, CFOs there, some of the kind of lawyers as well, who advise these firms about artificial intelligence. And I think e-commerce retail is going to change massively. And we talk about exponential change all the time, but I think you're starting to see it now. But what was amazing last night is when you talk to people about retail, and you say,
are using this technology, are using it yourselves. Everyone's using sort of ChatGPT or how to play with it, but in the business, not so much. So I thought what we do today on the pod is kind of go through almost like a quick sort of canter through end to end, how you may be able to use AI agents and AI generally, but especially AI agents in sort of e-commerce and retail.
Yeah, because some of these companies, they're only digital, right? So everything exists in the browser or in the email inbox, or maybe an SMS. Not more than that, basically, right? But then if you think about engaging with us as humans, that we have like 5 senses. So obviously, the more you can, of the senses you can engage with somebody, the more engaging you can be. So that's why video is very engaging. But at the same time, if you can actually have like a call, let's say the brand voice, and it's like maybe even like, different details of like maybe the founder's voice or whatever it is, or maybe like you create an avatar around that.
Any kind of form you think you want a customer or prospect to fill out, is try and use voice. If you're doing a customer survey or net promoter scores and you're following up after purchase or after they didn't purchase, or maybe they didn't complete a basket, it's wherever possible, try and use voice to engage, because you can extract so much more information, get a much better conversation. Nobody wants to fill out a form. Nobody really wants to respond to an email because it's just work. So wherever you can, voice is your friend, and voice is going to help you extract far more information so you can actually provide a better service and a better experience.
Now, we used to do a lot of AI news, and we stopped doing that really because there's just so much of it and there's a lot of it around. But I think it's just worth updating a little bit about news and what's going on, and we're going to do that today. We're also going to talk about how long we've been hiring in the business. There's actually a lot going on in our business as well. So we've been hiring. So we're trying to create, we don't just talk the talk, we try and walk the walk. We're trying to create an AI first business. So we're trying to create a business where we have sort of departments or rough departments, because people should be able to do adjacent work now. And we hire somebody, but around them, we want them to build an AI team, don't we?
I was talking to a business yesterday, and they were saying that they've got many, many different steps. They've kind of grown quite a lot over the years, but what's happening now is that as they kind of grow revenue more, they just need to add more people, because there's just a lot of processing of steps. And the reason for that is because there's multiple people in the team and there's different teams and everyone needs to be updated. So for an example, when an order comes in, they've got to then put it into 3 different places so that different team members have access to something. And then they've got to be able to do things, and then they can kind of run analysis on stuff afterwards. But frequently there might be a mistake with someone's done, and then they have to rejig and kind of go back over it.
A lot of businesses, and we find this more and more, and we're going to talk about vertical agents versus hybrid horizontal agent platforms in this podcast, but a lot of companies, don't they, they have a huge amount of manual processing. It's quite hard to see often how technology can do that. So people use robotic process automation, which is very specific and it can break very easily. But now you've got an intelligence that can look at the screen, look in the application, learn or be instructed in how it works, log into things, pick up data, transpose it somewhere else.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Implement AI podcast. If you're interested in learning more about how we can assist you and your business in leveraging AI for growth and efficiency, visit our website at implementai.io. Don't forget to subscribe to the Implement AI podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you listen to stay updated on future episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.